Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Columbia. My name is Richard McLeod, and I am your unmasked service leader for the day. To those of you in the sanctuary, please be advised that this service is being streamed on YouTube and a Zoom connection. So all of you folks out there in YouTube land, we're glad to have you with us, but we'd rather you be here in person. But anyhow, welcome. Everybody, please make sure that you read the announcements in your printed order of service, which you should have in your hands already. Especially be sure each week to read the weekly events. And if you don't get them in your email, please let somebody know, and you will, because that tells you everything that's going on. Also, keep up with the Unigram. I encourage you to keep it open as a tab on your browser, because the Unigram is posted on the website and all sorts of other information, so don't miss anything. Stephen, you have an announcement.
This mic. We're a little short-staffed in nursery today, so announcement from the CYRE committee. We do have that space available back there, so if you're a parent that has a little one and would like to have a little quiet space, it is available just outside the door there, and someone can help you with that. All right?
Okay, thank you. Okay, please practice the COVID restrictions that are in place per board-approved guidelines. Now, at the moment, what the guidelines are is that we would always want you to practice social distancing, and while you're in the building, wearing a mask is highly, highly recommended. Just a word about today's flowers. These are flowers that are here from last week that David Bryant brought in, but they're surviving well enough, and nobody signed up for this week, so we have the same flowers. So thank you, David. And any other announcements that I missed? I didn't have any more. And now let's center ourselves for today's service, and remember to silence all electronic devices as we listen to the prelude.
Unfortunately, Rod's video is not available right now due to technical issues, so we are going to fill in.
Okay, I'm back. All right. Please stand and join me in the congregational covenant as found in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant with one another. Thank you. Please be seated. Our minister is the Reverend Stephen Robinson, and when he's not on the pulpit like today, we have qualified and interesting speakers that we invite in. Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion. We are a covenantal religion, which means that you don't have to believe the same in order to treat each other the same, with respect, with dignity, equity, and compassion. Our community is based on deeds, not creeds. As Unitarian Universalists, we side with love, embracing all people regardless of age, color, race, socioeconomic status, physical ability, or religious background. We especially invite families and young children. We even have a nursery, kinda. We are a welcoming congregation, which means we also embrace LGBTQ plus individuals. We encourage everyone to wear name tags so that we may know each other better. Board members are here somewhere with the green name tags. Board members, stand up, please, so they can see who they need to either compliment or complain to. Okay, got it. Thank you. Thank you. Now, this time we'd like to recognize visitors. We always have visitors, and very welcome to you. So we're asking that visitors please fill out a welcome card or a visitor card and put it in the collection plate. Should be one on the back of the chair. In front of you, we'll send you newsletters, emails, but we will not drop by your house and visit. So, visitors, if you are willing and able, please stand and tell us. Stephen will bring around the microphone. Tell us your name, where you're from, something about you. Anybody, visitors?
My name is Sandra Merritt. I've just moved here from Spartanburg, South Carolina. The reason I came here is I just retired from teaching, 34 years as a special ed teacher, and my son lives here. So I bought a condo so I could be closer to him.
Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Lane Steele. I actually grew up here in Columbia, but just moved back recently for a job. I'm working at the law school over at the university. So just wanted to come by and check out what you guys have going on here. Good to be here.
Good morning. My name is Stacy Besser. I'm from Swansea. I'm not a first-time visitor. I have been before, but I appreciate you guys welcoming us this morning. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Bethany, and this is Andy and our daughter Marianne Muller. We live just around the corner, so that's how we learned about this congregation. We moved to Columbia in 2020. Andy's a forester, and we're just seeking a new, different spiritual community, so that's what brings us here today.
Different spiritual community. I like the way you say that. That's us. Okay. Thank you, Stephen. Today's chalice lighter is Don Cooper. Dr. Cooper has been with us for a while, and he's the first face you see when you come in the door. out there. We'll give you a microphone, Don. He'll tell you a little bit about himself before we light the chalice.
Thank you. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, Steve. I first came to Columbia from a position as a research professor in a medical school. However, in my earlier life, I had been trained as a linguist specializing in East European languages. These two subjects sound very different, but in my life, they've been connected. My first research presentation in Europe took place at a medical meeting in Prague, then the capital of Czechoslovakia. At times at that meeting, I had to speak Russian and Polish and Czech. When members of the Soviet delegation realized that I was a Westerner who spoke Russian, I was invited to come to the Soviet Union to lecture in Russian on my research specialty, the larynx, which you may know better as the voice box. The chief Soviet physician in that specialty was a Ukrainian, and so the first medical meeting that I was invited to was in Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. I lectured in Russian, and in fact, I could speak Russian with every person I met in Kiev. Today, of course, many Ukrainians would not want to speak Russian. Kiev was founded in the 5th century AD, and it became the capital of Russia in the 9th century AD, long before Russia's modern capitals, Moscow and St. Petersburg, even existed. Kiev still contains fascinating and beautiful buildings from that early period, and I worry what will happen to them now. I hope that Western countries will continue to support Ukraine, which at many times has formed an important link between East and West, as it did 1,000 years ago. Thank you.
And I say spasiba to you, Dr. Cooper. That's the only Russian word I know. Yeah, would you light the chalice here? Oh, yeah. Well, we can. But he's only allotted so much time. You didn't run out of time, though. We would have. Spirit of light and life, come unto us.
Well, I don't usually like to talk as a prelude to these things too much, but I shared this song with Deb Matherly, our president, who said, "You got to tell the story," and we could probably, can we bring the game down just a little bit on that handheld? We're right on the edge. Thanks. I gotta say first, thanks to my co-musicians, Karen and Richard. And this song will be coming out, hopefully in a couple of months on my forthcoming album, Damage, which will also feature Karen on the album. So there's that. But the story, Deb said, well, what's Wheatley, why do you care about 1919? Well, this song is reflective of a family story that my mother always used to tell. I put her actually in the song. She never claimed she was there, and historically she would have been about 6 months old at the time, so not a reliable witness. But the story is this. It's an historic fact that in Ontario, Canada, which was where she lived and my grandmother lived in the village of Wheatley, the first election in which women were eligible to vote happened in 1919, October the 20th, to be precise. Now, some of the conservative farmer husbands in wheat who just didn't think this was right. And they did a little passive resistance against this newfangled notion of women voting, by refusing their spouses' rides to the county seat to cast their votes, which was a significant impediment since it was about an 8 to 10 mile walk, depending on where the family farm happened to be located in relationship to Wilmington, which was the county seat. So, what did they do about this? Well, they packed up picnic lunches, got together, got a walking party together, and said to their husbands, okay, you got kids. And they walked to Wilmington, and they cast their ballots. And the kicker to the story is, on the way back, some of the husbands showed up to offer rides back. And they were told, no thanks, we're fine. You just go back.
October the 20th, 1919, dawned bright with a frost lightly whitening the scene. The sky held a promise of sun's wont to be, a grand day for walking, there'd be no more blocking, their voices would sound, though miles stretched long to reach Leamington town. Now I set out, the big swung at rest, my God, the day had been short, too exciting for rest. She fried up the bacon, made a meal and tea. She said, my dear Webster, I'll see you for supper, unless you come round. It's a long way to be from Leamington town. At first solitary, a long highway one, soon joined by her neighbors, some old and some young. Sisters Newman and Coulter and Mrs. McLean, some quietly talking, some silently walking. They covered the ground, each given a march toward Leamington town. What the law had yielded, their men would not see, still blind to the rise, but unseeing the need. This election day shining around like now past, women of Lee had ballots to cast. Leamington town at length came in sight, their steps now grew crisper, their eyes yet more bright, and one at a time, each one had her say. The biggest of all steps they taken that day. Now putting together their ballots all cast, they spread out their blankets right there on the grass, and sitting together they shared a repast, just thinking of whether their children, wherever their thoughts
I hope you listened to and heard distinctly the words to that, because it's really a neat story. Very neat story about women getting the vote in the early days, 100 years ago. It is now my very distinct pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for the day. I should call her more like a speakerette, because she's a small speaker. You know, see that in a moment. I didn't say that to you before, Laura. I figured you might look to it. Anyhow, Laura has attended UUCC since she was in the 5th grade. She is now 20 years old and attending Francis Marion University in Florence. But she still remains an active member here. She's even on a number of committees. She is a South Carolina native. She has lived all over the state until her parents, who are with us today, they finally settled in Columbia, where she has made a second family with UUCC. And I want to say just one more word of kind of interest here. You know, the worship committee has scheduled the month of July in a series of guest speakers called Voices of UUCC. And Laura is one of those voices. And when we first started talking to her about it, she was 19 years old, 19. Well, the next speaker we're going to have is Barbara Bates Smith, who is 9'1". So that's a point for whatever. Anyhow, Laura, your turn for opening words.
Thank you, Richard. Didn't know if you were actually going to go through with that. It was discussed, didn't know if you were serious. Our opening words today are from Lemony Snicket. At times, the world may seem an unfriendly and sinister place, but believe that there is much more good in it than bad. All you have to do is look hard enough, and what might seem as a series of unfortunate events may, in fact, turn out to be the first steps of a journey. Do we have any little ones up here to come down for children's time? This thing working? Does it work? Hi. Don't think I've met you guys before. Do y'all like? Ah. Says it's on. Technical issues are so fun. So, do you guys like to travel? You travel a lot? Great. Well, I think this book might be good for you. You guys heard of Dr. Seuss? All of them. This might seem familiar to you. Thank you. Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you'll do. You are the guy who decides where to go. You'll look up and down streets, look over them with care. About some, you'll say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not-so-good street. And you may not find any that you'll want to go down. In that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town. It's opener there in the wide open air. Out there, things can happen and frequently do. to people as brainy and footsie as you. When things start to happen, don't worry, don't stew. Just go right along, you'll start happening too. Oh, the places you will go. You'll be on your way up, you'll be seeing great sights, you'll join the high flyers who soar to high heights. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang and you'll soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you'll be the best of the best. Wherever you'll go, you will top all the rest. Except when you don't, because sometimes you won't. I'm sorry to say, but sadly it's true, that bang-ups and hang-ups can happen to you. You can get all hung up in a prickly perch, and your gang will fly on, and you'll be left in a lurch. You'll come down from the lurch with an unpleasant bump, and the chances are then you'll be left in a slump. When you're in a slump, you're not in for much fun. Unslumping yourself is not easily done. You will come to a place where the streets are not marked, so windows are lighted, but mostly they're dark. A place you could sprain both your ankle and chin. Do you dare stay out? Do you dare go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? And if you go in, should you turn left or right and 3/4, or maybe not quite? Simple it's not, I'm afraid you will find, for a mind maker upper to make up his mind. You can get so confused and you'll start in a race, down long winding roads at a breaknecking pace, and grind on for miles along the weirdish wild space, headed, I fear, towards a most useless place, the waiting place. For people just waiting for a train to go, or a bus to come, or a plane to go, or for the mail to come, or the rain to go, or the phone to ring, or the snow to snow, or waiting around for a yes or a no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting. Waiting for the fish to bite, or waiting for wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for Friday night, or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake, or a pot to boil, or for a bed or break, or a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everyone is just waiting. Nope, that's not for you. Somehow you'll escape all that waiting and staying. You'll find the bright places where boom bands are playing. With banner flapping, once more you'll ride high, ready for anything under the sky. Ready because you're that kind of guy. Oh, the places you will go. There is fun to be done. There are points to be scored. There are games to be won. And the magical things you can do with that ball will make you the winner of all. Fame, you'll be famous as famous can be, with the whole wide world watching you win on TV. Except when they don't, because sometimes they won't. I'm afraid that sometimes you'll play lonely games too. Games you can't win because you'll be playing against you. All alone, whether you like it or not, alone will be something, you'll be quite a lot. And when you're alone, there's a very good chance you'll meet some things that scare you right out of your pants. There are some down the road between Hicker and Yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on. But on you will go, though the weather be foul. On you will go, though your enemies prowl. On you will go through the Hackenkrack's cow. Onward up many a frightening creek, though your arms may get sore and your sneakers may leak. On and on you will hike, and I know you'll hike far, and face up to your problems, whatever they are. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure to watch where you step with care and great tact, and remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98 3/4% guaranteed. Kids, you will move mountains. So be your name Buxbaum or Bixie or Bray or Mordecai Alvan Allen O'Shea. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting, so get on your way. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. We've reached the point in our service where we light candles of community together. So if this is your first time here at the UUCC, this is a good chance of a way to get to know us. That's something very important to us, which is said in our welcoming affirmation together, that love is our doctrine of our congregation. It is really what grounds us as a community, as a spiritual community. And so sharing those joys with each other and celebrating together, very important to us when we are holding concerns and dealing with something that is causing us pain or hurt or grief. We hold each other together. We share those burdens together. And so this is a chance for us in the service to give a voice to those concerns. There are always 7 candles in the foyer, so you can pick one up, come down to the front, briefly share your joy or concern, and then light a candle and place it together. I'm going to lead us off today with a candle of celebration. That was a candle of concern that's moved to celebration, as she asked me to on Friday. Ann Johnson had surgery this week. You know that she's been dealing with a cancer diagnosis. Her surgery went really well. I believe they were able to contain everything in the surgery, all the cancer cells. She's going to go through a couple rounds of chemotherapy and then be discharged. She's going to be coming home tomorrow from the hospital. So she is celebrating. She looked wonderful when I saw her, and I'm just so happy to be able to share that good news. I invite others who have candles to share to please come down.
Hi, well, this is a joy. Today, my sister Chuck and her husband, my brother-in-law Bud, are celebrating their anniversary. Happy anniversary.
Sharing that I've been quite sick for a while, but I was blessed to share my 67th birthday on last Sunday. And
I'm Regina Moody, and I really hadn't even thought about coming up here today until just then. But it's been a very significant week to me personally and to my family, and I need to tell you that. I was in Baltimore from Tuesday night till Thursday morning this week, and my husband, who died 5 years ago almost, has been honored with the American Bandmasters Association, with whom he was a longtime member of that organization, and his career was music. And so anyway, after he died, I was contacted and told that they would like to have his papers. I didn't even know what that meant exactly, so I do now. Several years later, in 10 boxes of, stuff, took to the University of Maryland that houses the archives for that special collection. Anyway, what a week to be in Washington, D.C. My son, my stepson and daughter-in-law, and I drove all day Tuesday, listening to the House committee from 1 till 4, arriving in the midst of afternoon traffic in DC with my son driving, using his GPS and his wife, and I'm in the back seat just in tears because I couldn't contain the fact that where I was and all that. So to make a long story short, we went around and around and around, and we ended up, we were heading to Baltimore, and we had this little time going around in Washington. My daughter-in-law says, "Oh, there's the Washington Monument." And then I say, "There's the Jefferson, and then there's Lincoln Memorial." And so put that together in the equation and see what you get as far as emotion. Anyway, so make a long story short, 10 boxes of stuff get to this special library collection after, I think, a tornado struck on Tuesday night in Northern Virginia. All the lights were out on the campus the next day. Trees were down. Couldn't keep that appointment until the day we drove home. So what in the world does that all mean? It just, I don't know. But it was an honor for Bill and for whomever it matters. So thank you for listening.
An honor for you too, Regina, as we remember Bill with you. Our last candle that we light is a candle that we light to recognize that not all joys and concerns are able to be or desired to be shared out loud. And so we do have a space for silence and those joys and concerns. Please join me in taking a couple of deep breaths and sending your love and celebration and joy the way of all those who shared. Thank you. At this time, we prepare for our offering. Our Share the Plate recipient this month, as we always have a Share the Plate recipient each month, is Justice 360, and you can donate to Justice 360 by writing a check and designating that using an offering envelope, or, as Linda is reminding me, and I was going to remember, there is a QR code on the back of the program that you can also use to go straight to the online donation site. This time, I'd like to invite our ushers to come forward to receive our offering.
So, for those who may not remember Alan Toussaint, he was a Cracker Jack piano player, singer, and songwriter. Thank you. And a fixture on the New Orleans music scene for many years. And he actually had a minor hit with this song when it was covered by the Pointer Sisters, if you may remember that version.
Thank you for the lovely music. Feels like there's more people here than there was when I was up earlier. How are you guys doing today? Thank you for coming here this lovely Sunday morning. Life is full of choices. Some are small, some are in the middle, and others are big. It feels like life is made up mostly of small choices. When do we go to bed? When do we get up? What are you going to eat that day? When we were kids, our parents or guardians made those choices for us, as well as many others. As teenagers, we got more freedom with decision making, but they still had an influence with us. Then as adults, we left that sphere and we were making the decisions, whether that was to go to college, go on a road trip of self-discovery, or just to move out of the house. At first, that feeling of control over ourselves can feel liberating because we're free. But then we have to start thinking about things we never had to think about before, and that can cause people to stall. These are crossroads that everybody will encounter at least once in their life, and each person handles them differently. One benefit of these crossroads is that they can open our eyes to other options that we hadn't considered before or that we didn't even know existed. One of the crossroads my family knows is that I would like to talk about is the decision about college. As soon as students graduate from high school, there is this societal expectation for them to enroll in college immediately and then graduate in 4 years. Even middle schoolers are asked where they want to go to college and what they want to study. We're asking 11 to 13-year-olds what they want to do for the rest of their lives. I don't know about you, but that seems a little young. One thing I had to do in 7th grade was create a PowerPoint presentation about what college I wanted to attend. At that age, I did not care about college, so I did not take that assignment very seriously, and I just chose the college that my cousin wanted to attend at the time. After that assignment, I ended up changing my mind about that college at least 3 times. I was asked the question of where are you going to go and what are you going to study so much that it got to the point where I would tell people that I didn't know if I wanted to go to college just to get them off my back. Yeah, great idea. And that was something that I did consider because I knew that it was one of my options. But not every student knows that's an option. And if we're constantly asking them where they want to go at such a young age, they might start to think that they don't have the choice at all. My older brother didn't know that that was something he could do. We're 7 years apart, and he wasn't the best student, and he had no interest in going to college in the first place. But he still applied to a few because that was what he thought he had to do. He attended a small but good college for about 1.5 years, but he ended up dropping out. He floated around for a while, working as a server at restaurants for a few years, and he was doing just fine, but he didn't want to do that forever. He did try an online class or two, but that still didn't feel right to him. Eventually, he got an apprenticeship at a family-run electrical company, and he's still there today. He's happy, and that is all that I want for him. He was never told that going to college wasn't a life requirement, and has told me that if he knew that it was optional, that he wouldn't have gone in the first place. As his sister, I wish that he wasn't so lost all those years, but I think it was for the best as he learned about life the best way that he could, and he now has more stable footing. That is how some people learn best, being thrown out into the world and working hard to figure things out on your own. Sometimes the best lessons are learned the hard way and they can't be taught any other way. Others thrive in a college environment and they do phenomenal. College isn't just about getting a formal education. You learn about yourself, you meet so many new people, and you get exposure that probably you couldn't have gotten easy any other way. It's a good blend of stepping away from your parents, but also not throwing yourself out there before you are ready. You are now responsible for taking care of yourself and making bigger decisions with a fresh insight to the world. It can also be here where you look at your past decisions and what you want to do for your future. One big decision that I'm currently wrestling with is if I'm going to continue with my selected major. My major is currently biology with a focus in environmental science. I have wanted to do something with the environment since I was in 3rd grade. What job or career specifically? I'm open. I haven't put a pin in exactly what, but I want to work on fixing some of the damage that we have caused to the planet and wildlife. As a result, I was leaning towards working at parks or good, recognized zoos and aquariums, places that not only work to help protect animals and the environment, as well as heal it, but that also work to educate people on the damage that we are doing and what they themselves can do to limit and reverse the damage they are doing. I never considered doing anything else until the start of this summer, when I was on a Zoom call with 2 of my professors. One is an English writing professor, and the other was biology. These 2 professors, I call them my main 2 advisors because they are who I usually go to for class advice. And that was what they wanted to talk to me about, my classes and major. Specifically, the last biology assignment that I turned in for that professor. The assignment was that we had to write a lab report about a lab that we did at the Freshwater Ecology Center. My bio professor told me that it was one of, if not the best lab report that he has read in a long time. So he and my writing professor called me to encourage me to at least consider switching my major to either environmental law or environmental journalism. Between those 2, I would choose journalism, as I would not survive a day in law school. My mom and my brother probably would say that I am good at arguing, but I say that that is half the battle. My professors said that having scientists to work on fixing problems is very important, but having people that can explain what is happening and what is being done to fix aforementioned problems to the public is just as important. We could fix everything wrong with the planet, but if we don't educate ourselves on what caused the damage or what we could do to prevent it from happening again, then all the effort of fixing the problems will be worthless. Those are just 2 examples of crossroads that anyone can experience if you have not already. You can sometimes tell when a crossroad is coming, so you can try to prepare for it. Other times, they completely blindside you and take you by surprise. Not all crossroads are sink or swim situations, though. They can set you back a bit from where you started. So that happens. What do? You get up, dust yourself off, and keep on going. You learn from every hiccup, every mistake you make. They can also push you forward and open a whole world of possibilities that you didn't even consider. And you're not walking alone on this journey. You have your friends, your family, and your community walking with you, right there to give you a helping hand, provide moral support, and just to give you a gentle shake, because we all need one every now and then. I'm going to end this by telling you something that I told one of my good friends and her roommate. She comes from a family in a medical field, and that was what she has wanted to do for the longest time. I can't remember exactly what happened, but one night she told me she was considering changing her major from nursing to general science with a focus on medicine. but she didn't know if she should. I told her to think about the Wright brothers and the plane that they built and flew. Before then, there were so many different and creative planes that were designed, made, and tested. I told her not to worry about her family, her friends, professors, or advisors. Don't worry about what they would think if she made the switch. Told her to take a deep breath, consider her options, and to do what felt best for her. I told her to build her plane and to fly it. Thank you.
And please rise if you are willing and able and join in the singing of our closing hymn, Building a New Way. It's number 1017 in the teal hymnal. And I'll ask, but you already know you should, right? Not for singing. Not yet. Not yet. Hasten the day when you can.
Our closing words today are from the book called The Perpetual Calendar of Inspiration by Vera Nazarian. If you are faced with a mountain, you have several options. You can climb it and cross to the other side. You can go around it. You can dig under it. You can fly over it. You can blow it up. You can ignore it and pretend it's not there. You can turn around and go back the way you came. or you can stay on the mountain and make it your home.
Please join us. I'm over here, right? I don't have my roll with me. But I think we're doing the benediction now, yeah? Oh, chalice.
Want to say thank you to everyone who was here part of the service. A special thank you to Kevin and Karen and Richard for the beautiful music. And then what a wonderful job Laura did. Thank you so much. Give all for. If you're visiting with us for the first time, we invite you to stick around. We'd love to get to know you and give you a chance to get to know us. We'll have some social time out in the social hall and the outside area. So please take an opportunity to let us get to know you and you get to know us. Thank you all for being part of this service.